Okay. What up, my guys? Man, we got to get the vibes going with the intro there, man. My guy, Ski Profit, my guy, Rob Veno as well, man. We about to break down Brooklyn Nets season preview 2022 to 2023 for all my people that want to get locked in with the NBA. You see what I'm saying? Early, get some early start, man. We may have gave out a free pick yesterday on the first game, but also after that we're gonna do the Hornets as well, guys. So 2-1 special today. We're doing the Brooklyn Nets and the Charlotte Hornets season preview. Let's get to it, my guys. Let's get straight into business. First up, we're talking about the Nets here, guys. Season preview, win total somewhere around, between 49 and a half, between 50 and a half. Now, this is my second one. The first one with all of the disarray, Rob, with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. But what's up with you, Rob? First off, sorry about that. What's up with you, Rob?
I'm good, buddy. How are you? We're heading into a weekend here. Obviously, we get flooded with football. We're doing a little NBA preview to get ahead of the game here. You said we may have tilted toward a free pick yesterday. I would say we may have moved the line yesterday with a little action on a certain game. So go back, and if you didn't catch the first two and you're watching today, go back and catch the Atlanta Hawks preview, the Boston Celtics preview. Today we'll give you a little Brooklyn Nets and Charlotte Hornets thoughts.
What's up with you, Skee?
Yeah, I'm ready to get to it. This division, I made a lot of money on last year with the futures, so I think today we got some more money on the board. I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it too, man. I can't wait. I love when NBA is coming back, man. I not with the slander, but about the picks. You see what I'm saying? But we got the Nets here. Preview, guys. Obviously, KD is going to stay. We knew that Kyrie was going to stay for a while, but KD asked for a trade. He is going to have to play there. No one wanted him, right? They were not giving up all their whole team for Kevin. Not this version of Kevin Durant. So they are going to run it back. First off, man, I mean, I guess we could talk about that first, Skee. What do you think about that, about KD and Kyrie running back with the likes of Ben Simmons and TJ Warren as well?
Well, I definitely think they'll be motivated. You hear Kyrie saying, it was good for them to go out how they went out, and you're gonna get Kyrie, full time now. It's not gonna be only half the time on the game. So I'm high on the Nets. We could talk about it, but I think KD and Kyrie can have a good year.
No, that's facts. What you think about that, Rob? You think KD and Kyrie running it back, they're gonna look a lot better this time around? Is Ben Simmons still on the team? Is he gonna play or what?
I feel like with this team, guys, either you're all in on Brooklyn or you're all out on Brooklyn. I don't know that there's a lot of middle ground here. The opinions that you hear on this team vary to either very positive or very negative. We are going to talk about it. I probably side with Skee on the positive side here. We can get into the details, but it should be a bounce back year for them. I would expect that.
Yeah, no, definitely could be a bounce back year. Hopefully, it'll be interesting to see what they do over there at center as well. But next up, man, I want to talk about the coach, guys. They have the players. Coaching doesn't mean a ton, but when you're a lame duck, man, I'll never forget first game of the season last year when they played the Bucks and absolutely got slaughtered the first game of the year. And then after the game, Steve Nash is gonna say we just weren't ready. You're the freaking coach, man. What are you talking about? You're not ready. You had all off season to get ready. So I'm scared of Nash, guys. I'll be honest with you. I think the Nets go to the next level once they get rid of him. And I hate to be with KD, but yeah, no, Nash has to go. And I do believe if they start out struggling, he will get the boot mid-season. And I think that they'll be a better team once he leaves, Skee.
Yeah, I'm not a big believer in Steve Nash, but that's who these guys asked for. So they kind of got to deal with it right now. And to start the year, I think they have 5 tough games, but like I said, I think they'll be ready for a center. Like you mentioned, they still got Claxton over there, right? And they even mentioned Ben Simmons, maybe trying him at some center position. So the more I look at it, the way this roster is filled out, they got a lot of shooters too. I mean, guys that were hurt last year that are going to be back this year. You talk about Harris, you want to talk about Seth Curry. It's just a lot of firepower over here, and I think their defense will be a lot better. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here. And you mentioned TJ Warren. I mean, we haven't seen him for a little while, but You saw how he was killing in the bubble. I think they can at least get like 16 points per game from him. So I think they got a lot of firepower over here, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. My guy Steph in the chat, somebody I did see that Ben Simmons had an interview as well. I might have to check that out just to see where his mindset is, but I still have to see it on the court. You mentioned Clax and Rob. What do you think? What do you think about the big men for the Nets over there? It's kind of been their nemesis over the past few years. What do you think about this big man situation / Ben Simmons?
Yeah, and I think if you look up and down the East, guys, nobody's got Joel Embiid, right? So, and nobody's going to get Joel Embiid. So you have to find other ways. You have to figure you're going to lose that matchup and find other ways. And in the Nets case, nobody else has Kevin Durant. Nobody really guards KD. So when it comes to them in Philly, that's kind of the back and forth. But, I'll go back to the coaching staff and I'll reiterate what Skee said. When push came to shove, and Jacques Vaughn had a really nice run as the interim head coach, when they wanted to know who Kevin Durant and who Kyrie wanted to be their head coach, they voted Steve Nash. And I think that KD's move here over this past summer by throwing, Nash and Sean Marks under the bus saying get rid of them, I think was just a ploy for him to try his best to get out of there. I don't know. Kevin Durant, to me, is just a guy who wants to play basketball. And I don't think he ever holds any ill will towards anybody. I mean, he's got rabbit ears and he reads a lot and he, replies a lot. But in the end, I think Kevin Durant's an easy guy to forgive and forget. So we'll see with Nash. It's interesting last year too. Remember Kyrie saying, yeah, I'm going to coach a few games and we'll let Nash coach a few games and Kevin Durant will coach a few games. So who the heck knows? But they probably can run themselves on the floor. If it all meshes together, have to agree with Skee, because for as much of a big deal, and I'm in the Philadelphia area, okay, so I hear this a lot, PJ Tucker. But for as much as you want to say about PJ Tucker, how about Royce O'Neal here in Brooklyn now? Royce O'Neal, again, a pretty steady physical force who can shoot threes. It's kind of their version of PJ Tucker. Add Markieff Morris. I think they've done it, Jay, with a little extra bulk at like the 3 and the 4 rather than the 5. I mean, they pick up Watanabe from Washington, which isn't going to stop Joel Embiid. But I think in the other positions, and especially where shooting is concerned, I mean, to pile on with Skee, Cam Thomas is 20 points a night, almost, I'm not going to say whenever he wants, but he can be 20 points a night. And when the matchups come, I can't really wait to see James Harden guarded by Ben Simmons, because they're pretty sure that's what it's going to come down to. Ben Simmons, that X factor on defense, don't need a lot of him, just 12 to 14 points and do what you do. I like the team. I thought the win total was low. But again, it could be a crash and burn situation too. Maybe I'm just giving you all the highlights and none of the lowlights, but let's hope that they come to play ball. I think Durant wants to win. Kyrie wants to win. Guys, they were 9-34 against the spread at home last year. 9-34. Can't possibly happen again, 9-34. Of course, Kyrie didn't play in home games, but that's got to straighten itself out here. So, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, that's a good point there. It's tough for me, guys.
Jay, what you said about the coach and what Rob is saying, like, if we're going to talk about just making money here as far as betting these regular season numbers, I don't think the coach matters that much for the regular season.
That shit matters, bro. I mean, I hate to disagree with you, Skee, but when you got a coach like Steve Nash, is literally sitting like he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, it matters. Now, don't get it twisted. They've had off season. Hopefully, he can work on plays, stuff like that. But he's too soft spoken, if you ask me, guys. So it's just something I've saw over the years. You need a coach, especially with motherfuckers like Kyrie. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You need somebody that's literally telling these guys what to do, keep them in check. There are grown men, but you have alpha males that can also keep other men. Like, I guess what I'm saying, you have to be a leader in today's coaching, whether it's NFL, MLB, you know what I'm saying, college, anything. You have to be a natural born leader, and I'm not sure that Steve Nash is that, guys. That's the only thing I'm saying. This Nets team on paper is really good. I like the moves that they did. Even though Royce O'Neal is a shell of himself, I like the fact they still have Seth Curry. Joe Harris is back this year. Be interested to see what Ben Simmons does, because they need bigs that's one thing. I know Watanabe. Yeah, come on, bro. Guy's like a third center he's like the third center on the Raptors over there. So be interested to see how good he can be. They did get Markieff Morris over there, basically like some muscle. I look at him being more of their PJ Tucker because Royce O'Neal just doesn't have that dog in him like that. And what I saw versus the Utah Royce O'Neal is like, I don't know, man. A few years, he might be out of the league, guys. So it'd be interesting to see if Nick Claxton can be a starting center, step into that role and be a starting center in this league. It could be a weak spot. Like it's basically the same Nets team as last year, if you ask me. Really good on paper. Can they put it together in the locker room, guys? So will Kyrie have those mid season, you know what I'm saying? Like Dennis Rodman, he needs to go to Vegas or something. Will KD end up getting pissed at Kyrie or Ben Simmons? So we've got a lot of moving parts here, a lot of alpha males that have different type of personalities here, guys. So this win total does look very low, but I had to disagree that the coaching definitely does matter. But I couldn't talk you guys off of over here, Skee. That's what you liking? Over team total, win total here?
Yeah, I'm going with the over. I mean, they won 44 games last year. Harden, when he was there, he was hurt for a good portion of the time. Kyrie didn't play half of the season. I mean, you get full, like I said, full season from Kyrie. You get Ben Simmons over there. Harris was hurt for majority of the season. If you can keep this team healthy, I don't see any way they don't get to 51 wins. They did make a couple of additions as well. And I got to say, like, if we're going to look at the division, I think the Celtics take a step backwards from what they did last year. And the Sixers, I feel like I trust more of the guys. Like, I like the depth on this Nets team more than I like it on the Sixers team. So I think I trust the Nets to win the division at plus 210. So over on the win total, and I bet that already. And I'm looking at the division plus 210. What you guys think about that?
Yeah, I couldn't talk. Who is the favorite for division?
Celtics.
No, that's not happening.
See,
that's not happening.
We got to beat the favorite.
Yeah, I actually think Philly might be the team that's coming in pissed off this year, Rob. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was going through it a little bit more because I'm probably going to go to the casino, but I think Philly, I've been reading into Philly. I think they're obviously the 76ers and the Nets, Rob, are the teams that really have to show something this year. They have really championship aspirations. But what do you think about that? It's basically Philly and the Nets I mean, we can't leave out Toronto. We can't leave them out, but I think Philly and the Nets, it's going to be a battle, man, this one, Rob. It's a tough division. What you think about this one?
Yeah, no doubt, guys. It is a tough division. And I just think back to after they made the Harden-Simmons trade last year, and all the look forward was to when Brooklyn came to Philly that night. Obviously, Kyrie wasn't playing home games, but he played that road game. And Brooklyn walked in here and destroyed Philadelphia that night. And you could just see that when those guys are motivated, they're different. They're a different breed when they're motivated. They even played defense that night. And again, like Skee's pointing out, they did it without Seth Curry probably played, but without Joe Harris and the additions that they've made here. We didn't even talk about Patty Mills, who is a more than legitimate backup second teamer. So, Jay, let me say this real quick. Actually, first I'll get to Skee talked about division. I would almost look Eastern Conference because you can't, if you're going to do guesswork at this point in time, who might be injured, who might not be injured. The Nets roster is as good as the Bucks if all goes well, and the Nets to win the conference. I'm looking here to win the East plus 400. So you could probably make a case for that as well. But real quick to your point about coaches, how much would you say lies in the lap of who Steve Nash is surrounded by on the bench as well? Is there a guy, an assistant, Jacques Vaughn being his main assistant, but is there a guy there that could, while Steve Nash babysits and makes friends, is there a guy there that could be the alpha dog for the Nets rather than Steve Nash?
That's a good point. That's a great point, Rob. I was thinking, as I was saying, I was like, we need to see who the assistant coaches are. Obviously, they are somewhat interchangeable. Sometimes they change from year to year. I need to see who the assistant coaches are. But it's just, I like to say, I like Nash. He's a good guy. I mean, he played for the Mavericks. Right. All this, let's just say I was scratching my head when he was hired for the coach position, especially with no experience whatsoever. I was really still scratching my head to this day. I hope it works out for him. KD, I mean, he deserves, you know what I'm saying, to be on a good good team or whatever. Obviously, he know that he's not going to a bad team, Skee, the way he was. Oh, you got to have 2 superstars over there for me. But I mean, these guys deserve better. Even though Kyrie's a head case, I want to see these guys win. I want to see Ben Simmons be an impactful player on a team. Like, I like to see him play the center. I think he's possibly the best choice to put him at the center, but he can still handle the ball as well. You literally have everybody on the floor that can handle the ball. If they can work that out, Simmons being the 5, that's some scary shit right there, to be honest with you, Skee. So that's the last thing I got to say on this one. You got anything else on the Nets?
Yes, just I mean, when you match up like that, just kind of remind me of a death type of lineup that like we saw the Warriors do. So That's where basketball is going right now. Like Rob said, it's only Joel Embiid in the East who's the big man. So outside of that, I think it will work. Yeah,
no, you need bigs to face them Raptors. They got length over there. You're going to need some bigs and rebounding guys. I think a lot of people forget rebounding is huge in basketball, guys. It's huge, especially when it comes to playoff, Rob. Anything else on the Knicks?
Let me before you go to Rob, let me just tell you this. I don't know if you would think this, but last year, Sixers were the second worst rebounding team in the league. The Nets were middle of the pack. So they got potential to still be good on the boards.
That's a good point.
Well, you know what, Skee, and when you look at it from the fact that Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, and Nicholas Claxton in your starting lineup, they're all 6'11" or better. So it's not like they don't have height and they don't have rebounding ability. KD can get double-digit rebounds virtually again whenever he feels like it. So I would think that, you know, they could be okay. They needed a little bit. I think that we would both identify them as, or all three of us would identify them as a little bit soft last year. And when you compare them to Philly, Miami, Toronto, like Jay's saying, Toronto's got those guys down low. They need to be a little bit tougher. But again, I just go back to that matchup against Philly that night when it meant something, when the crowd was electric. Ben Simmons didn't play that game. This Philly crowd was just waiting for Ben Simmons to show up on the floor. And Brooklyn, from start to finish, was the better team that night. And as for Ben Simmons at the 5, Jay, I feel like that's a great point because that's almost how you eliminate Joel Embiid a little bit. You force him to run 94 feet up and down the floor and kind of take them out of some of the half-court stuff by putting pressure on them with speed and tempo. So maybe that is a way they'll decide to look.
Yeah, no, that's a good point there. I think they should try to find a way to get Simmons on the floor. Hopefully he's coming in pissed off. They have a loaded team, I must say, especially when you add, like, I don't think anybody's looking at TJ Warren. Who the hell is that? Remember, bubble TJ Warren was going off, but it's just hoping he's the same after that injury. They are a deep squad. Like I said, personally, I feel like they should add at least one more center just to get some depth over there. Just in case maybe Claxton, because he is a skinny type of guy and had some injury issues. So hopefully you guys can stay healthy, but maybe one center away from really being a force over there. But that win total is looking really short to me, in my opinion. I'd be looking at Nets season win total over 50.5. Rob and Skee liking it as well, my guys. If you guys, anything else on this one, I say we go over here, slide to the Hornets. You see what I'm saying? What you thinking, Skee?
No, sound good to me. Let's do it.
Let's do it, my guys. The Charlotte Hornets, man, 2022 to 23 season preview, my guys. We got it sitting at around 36.5, man. We know they have LaMelo Ball over there, high flying. Not sure what's going on with Miles Bridges. I feel like we have to talk about that first. He's literally one of their better players on the team, top 3 players on the team. What's going on? Do you have any updated info, Skee, on what's going on with Miles Bridges?
I'm not expecting him to be there. The way I'm looking at it right now, it's going to be the Hornets without that guy. So,
oh boy.
And if I look at that, you know exactly probably which way I'm looking at this win total.
Let us know, or Rob, what you liking in this one, man? What you think? Bridges or no Bridges? How do you think this the state of the Hornets will be this year, my guy?
Well, I think the odds makers are telling us that they don't expect Bridges because when we look at the East and the odds to win the Eastern Conference, Charlotte now sits at 11th, which means they don't even expect Charlotte to be a play-in team at this point in time. You know, when I look at the win total, Jay, 35.5, gosh, it seems low. And I know there's a lot of considerations here. It turns them into a 36-46 type team to have to cash. And the question is, because every roster I've looked at that's current doesn't list Miles Bridges anywhere in the 3 deep.
I'm looking
and
at the
so I
same
guess
thing.
we have to feel like we're dealing without him, and who can replace what he did on the floor. When I was thinking through it, guys, real quick, I thought before Miles Bridges actually became Miles Bridges, I don't know that any of us before the season started would have said, yeah, he's going to be a 20-point guy. He's going to be the high-flying act. He's going to be the second best guy on the team. I don't know that a lot of people thought he would have the impact that he wound up having. Replacing it, another story. They will get Gordon Hayward back full-time, which is somewhat of a help. I just don't know, after all these injuries, what he's going to look like on the floor. James Bouknight, first rounder out of Connecticut, didn't do much last year, was hurt an awful lot. I'm sure he's going to be asked to score, and he can score. So they've got options, but the way we look at it on paper right now, it doesn't look like that void of Bridges can be filled. And therefore, you probably have to look under 35.5, just with the ascension of so many teams in the East. I mean, to me, teams like Indiana at this point are even going to be comparable to what Charlotte has. And at that point, you can't play Charlotte to win 36 games.
Yeah, I was looking at that same thing, Rob. He's not on any depth chart, man. I hate what happened to him. I believe, a few days before he's going to sign his extension as well, man. Just dumb. Stay away from everybody, man. Stay away from the girl. You see what I'm saying? Let me get this money first, man. Then you can come back to the house. But good, man. Oh, my God. Rich people problem, Skee. But it's obviously LaMelo Ball is really good. Terry Rozier. I feel like this team might get to the point where they start to trade guys away, man. This literally could be a tank season for the Hornets. When you see bottom tier teams, I don't want to look towards the over there, because we know when the tank comes in, you don't even want to win the games. We saw with the Thunder basically resting anybody that could possibly help them win games. I think we could see that from the Hornets. I think they're smart enough to know that it may be time for a rebuild. You may see Gordon Hayward, guys like him, go to a contender, because remember, they're paying these guys a lot of money, man. We know they're going to keep LaMelo Ball, but Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward, guys like PJ Washington, I wouldn't be surprised to see one of the 3, or not 2 of the 3, get shipped out here and they go to a full-on rebuild. They have young guys on the bench. I saw they signed Dennis Smith Jr. To a 1-year contract. When they're signing players like that to a 1-year contract, that's saying that they're trying to give some people some tryouts, in my opinion, here. So, Skee, what do you think about guys like PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier? Are they able to still help this team, or are these guys going to start looking toward the future?
PJ Washington can still help them. But I agree with what you said. I could definitely see a fire sale type of thing happening. I feel like they're already shopping Terry Rozier. I look at this team and I ask myself, did they do anything to get better? And I see nothing. And when you look at minus Bridges, like, what am I supposed to do with them? They're 30th in scheduled wins, which means they're going to be at a rest disadvantage more than anybody else in the league. I'm looking at how they start the year. They do play the Spurs first, and they're only a 3-point favorite. I can't even say I feel confident to take that. But for their first 5 games on the road, I just feel like this team is going to start off rough and it's going to last throughout the entire season. So under 36.5 for me, easy.
Easy peasy, man. Rob, how you look? I mean, like you said, man, this is a tough one. Now, especially some of the top guys go down here, Rob. That 36.5 is pretty low, but just like you alluded to, they're expected to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. With, like Skee said, with a tough Skee. I want to ask you real quick, where are you getting the expected wins from as far as the rest advantage?
I'll send it to you. I have a site here. It was like sports something news, but I have it. I'll send it to you.
It was really just for the people I can find it. It's really for the people that's listening to the show that's interested in looking at those type of stuff. It was really for them. It's not that I don't need it. I'd like to look at it.
There's a few different ways. If you Google it, a few different ones pop up, but I think it's called like Sporting News or something like that, where it breaks it down.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's all I was gonna do. Google it. But yeah, I appreciate that, Rob. What you think about this Hornets? You'd be looking towards the under on the win total as well here, right?
I think you have to. But if you don't like that, Jay, if you don't like to get involved in futures, then how can you play the Hornets this year? I'll say this: you have to look under, just because when you look at the way the playoffs landed last year, and the Hornets barely got in as a play-in team. And now we know that the Pistons are better. We know that the Cavs are better. The Cavs and the Hawks are sure things now. They're not floating around down the bottom trying to scramble in last year, right? And that, like I say, people like the Pistons and the Pacers are a little bit better. And so, to think that Charlotte's going to win 36, and especially if they do go to fire sale mode, like you say, the Terry Rozier point well taken, because I think last year they even tried to shop Terry Rozier a little bit. You know me, I like to play totals, and can I figure out a way to play this Charlotte team more often than not? And I guess you would always lean toward over with them, because when you look up and down the roster, it's a bunch of guards, it's a bunch of wings, and guys with capability of scoring, and not a lot of capability to play on the defensive end, and they play at tempo. Now, last year, when I looked at their numbers, they're a 50-50 proposition, 50% overs, 50% unders. A lot of times they were, their totals were jacked up, mid 230s, high 230s for Charlotte. It'll be interesting to see where the odds maker lands this year, subtracting Bridges from their lineup. How much will they take off of those totals? If they do take enough, guys, I would have to play them over, because I think not only did Miles Bridges bring point production to the team, but he brought a lot with block shots and the defensive end and defensive rebounds that I don't know can be replaced. And that all points to, the other team scoring more, and perhaps Charlotte even scoring a little bit more to match up. So maybe we can look at them from an over standpoint. It'll kind of be game to game with these guys, but I think that would be my starting point, is with totals, maybe look at Charlotte over, and hopefully the odds maker, chops enough off of where he was placing them last year to give us some opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that as well about the totals, how we will look at the team. They do have a new coach over there, somewhat of a defensive-minded type of guy, and Steve Clifford. They're popping off in the chats, and they hired a coach they already fired over there, but he is a defense-first type of coach. So one change that we could possibly see, maybe this team. Now, don't get it twisted. LaMelo Ball loves to push the ball. They love playing fast, but now a coach change could literally put a whole new philosophy over there. He doesn't necessarily, it's not that he don't like to play fast, but he will put emphasis on defense. Rob, do you think that that'll affect definitely should affect the totals, right?
And you know what, Jay? That's either going to breed a team that wants to buy in, or one that says, the hell with you, we're not playing any defense. Right? You see it all the time, right? If they don't like the system, your fire sale will come into play, because people will be looking to get out of there. That's an interesting point with Steve Clifford, again, because if he does try to force defense down their throats and they don't want to play, and I don't know, I'm not in the Charlotte locker room. We have to, visualize, see it on the floor first before we can make a judgment. But I tell you what, it won't take long for us to watch a couple of Hornets games and see how the players want to play. And if the coach is calling timeout every 15 seconds to, try and yell at somebody, that's a good point. I'd be interested to see, or maybe even maybe do a little research here and read how the players are accepting what may be a philosophical change here in Charlotte.
Right. I think it's something that we got to look at, man. Borrego is out, Skee. So, like I say, we hadn't seen Clifford in a while, but I do know for a fact that he is a defensive-minded type of coach going to an offensive team. So, it'll be interesting to see my guy Mike in the chat saying Rozier and Hayward are their vets. They're shipping both. It's a throwaway season. That's a good point. And Hayward gets paid a ton. I'm sure they're tired of paying his ass to get injured every single year, man. I know I would be. Man, you can go back to the Jazz with all that, bro. Be interested to see where they would possibly send Rozier to. That's a good point. But yeah, I like that look, Mike. I could see both those going, especially Hayward over there, Skee. But what do you think about Clifford over there maybe messing with these totals?
Well, first I want to say I don't think. Well, I felt like Borrego had a little bit of a problem with LaMelo, and in general, I remember it was a point last year, like Rob said, that they were going over, and then a point where Borrego was trying to get them to buy in on the defensive end. And they did it for a little bit. They did some unders, but then all of that went out the window. So if they're going to buy in for an entire season with this new coach, I don't know. My bet would be on it doesn't last, because I just don't see a whole lot of bodies who are capable of playing defense on that team. So fire sale, here we come.
That sounds like a lot of recipes for the under, if you ask me, on the win total. And I always say when the NBA team gets to tanking, it's smarter for them to not win games so they can get the best possible pick. See what I'm saying? Draft pick for the next year. So that's what I'll be looking at in this one. Shout out to Molecular Ninja coming here every single day, man, with the positive vibes. I appreciate you, man. Them vibes gonna rub off on the show, and we're gonna cash some tickets here. Rob, yeah, like I say, man, any other thoughts on this one? Let's see, no real acquisitions over there. Let's see, Dennis Smith Jr., that's the only player that they added, basically, man. So it's just trash. I don't know what to say. A ton of young guys. You look at it: Cody Martin, Nick Richards, Kai Jones, JT Thor, Jalen McDaniels, Boak Knight. You see what I'm saying? This team is finna rebuild, man. Oh boy, I kind of feel something here, like they finna trade everybody. And then at that point, what if LaMelo's pissed off and doesn't want to stay there? He's their future. If that's something to keep on, yes, guys, because the Melo's like, man, this team trash. No, Skee, stop that. Y'all ain't got no money. You ain't got no money, ain't got no picks. You ain't got nothing but LeBron and AD, man. That's it. We'll get to it. We'll get to that, Skee. Right now, we're talking about the Hornets. No, it doesn't seem like they're trying to win. I guess that's what I'm getting to. I mean, when you signed Dennis Smith Jr., it's like, all right, we'll have you starting about the end of the year here. So I see these guys possibly trading 3 of their starters here this year. I think that I don't play win totals, but I'm doing these shows, man. I might have to be bet. I might bet every one of these things under in this one, guy. Definitely. Contest. Yeah, you have to be 500. You basically have to be 500 to get over this, man. Hell no. Yeah, under Hornets team preview, guys. That Bridges thing is another distraction that they might be dealing with for the first half of the year, guys. I hate to see what happened to him, man. But anything else on this one, Rob, on this Charlotte Hornets 2022-23 team preview, my brother?
Yeah, real quick, I'll hit on what you said, and we're kind of beating a dead horse, but this is the point we're trying to make here. LaMelo Ball is the face of this franchise.
Fact.
And what he wants to do is what should go. And if the coach comes in and tries to force feed something different to him, it's not going to work. I'll say this. Mark Williams, the 7-footer out of Duke, is a defensive force and may end up being their absolute best defensive player. And Mason Plumlee, who's listed as the starter, I don't believe he's going to be the starter that long with Williams behind him. This is a guy who at Duke was just the king of alley-oop dunks and block shots. And if that's the way they want to go, he's a keeper. And maybe you can convince those young guys, the really, really young guys, that we're going to play defense. But I'm just not sure it's going to work, Jay. So, again, I think that we're on under season wins, and we're going to see how to play this total. Because if the coach is saying one thing, I remember, who was it that Rick Carlisle had a real problem with a veteran point guard down there who didn't want to listen to any play calls when he was in Dallas.
Rondo.
The guys in
Rondo.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what happens here, you can forget it for Charlotte. So I think probably the best thing we can tell you is under 30, 35 and a half is a good look. And again, I'm totals guy, so I'm going to look how to play these totals.
I like it. I think I gotta go get to playing this shit, man. Skee, what so what we doing? We liking under here, right? 35 and a half, 36 and a half. What they might not get past 30 the way that we sounded.
Yeah, either number is good to me. I would play either one, but I did take it already, and I got 36 and a half under.
I like it. Yeah, that Bridges thing is unfortunate. It's unfortunate for him. It's unfortunate for the team. Maybe they don't really care anyway because they can save money and pay that to somebody else next year. But this does look like it could possibly be a down year for the Hornets. And what do we see in NBA teams where they know they really have no chance of making the playoffs and definitely not win the championship? They look towards next year. I hate to see it. I like for them to try to be as much competitive as possible, but in reality, it is. In theory, it's kind of smart, but it'll be better for our pockets. We'll get to fade them boys, man. I think we'll find a lot of spots to fade the Hornets here as well. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in as well, Rob. Anything else on this one? Anything you want to let the people know that you got going over there at Wager Talk as well?
I'm laughing to myself because I remember doing shows with you last year at the end of the year when teams like Oklahoma City were tanking, and I can't wait till we're 70 games in and we're talking about Charlotte and you're upset with them because they're not playing anybody or doing anything. But that is the way it looks like it's going, especially with the East. Other teams getting so much better. WagerTalk.com is where you can find all my stuff. If you're not a member of WagerTalk.com, it doesn't take much. It takes an email address. You get instant access to all of the free content provided over there. Analysis of all the football games, just about every single football game each and every week. Major League Baseball, soon to be NBA and college basketball as well. If you're interested in selection packages, of course, mine are up for sale there at wagertalk.com. Nice football weekend coming. So if you're looking for that, that's where you want to go, wagertalk.com. If you want to find me on Twitter, pretty easy, at Rob Veno Sports.
Yeah, man. Y'all make sure y'all go follow my guy Rob, man. Really good follow over there. Skee as well, man. Skee as well. But both of their Twitter handles are right there. What's up with you, Skee? What you got going over there? Where'd you talk, my brother? And what's them plays on the preview on the win totals?
Yeah, plays for today. Nets over. I got 49.5. I still would endorse it at 50.5. And Hornets under 36.5. Still good at 35.5. And if you want to get on all my win totals that I've already made before I come do these shows, if you want to get early numbers, I do have my selections up at Wager Talk. I've hit every of my best bets for NFL so far, so I got that going too. And EuroLeague is starting soon. Jay, I got to get you on some EuroLeague basketball. You know what to do with these hoops, man. So
please do.
We'll talk about it.
I'll get on it. I gotta find a way to watch this shit too, man. You gonna have me up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, man, watching what baby crying, and hey, I'm up watching EuroLeague basketball on the computer, man. But hey, I like cash, and we know how to cap basketball, my guy. We do this, man. This is what we do, my guys. So make sure y'all following Skee on Twitter at Skee Profit, Rob Veno as well at Rob Veno Sports. We liking the Nets to go over their win total. We're liking the Hornets to go under theirs, possibly way under as well, man. They might be the new Thunder over there, my guys. But we appreciate everybody for tuning in. You can follow me as well on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. We'll be doing as many previews as possible, NFL content, college football content as well. WNBA when it's here, plenty of NBA, guys. So subscribe, hit that notifications bell. That way you know when every time we're going live. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the show as well if you can. Go check out wagertalk.com. Rob over there, Skee, a lot of great cappers. Just had Dave Koken on the show. Some big dogs, man. We all trying to get some cash here. Been trying to smack those bookies up, take them to Smack City, my guys. It's us against the bookies. We out. Let's get this cash.